Is already set up for the Transnation eSports Supercar Series with the Toyota 86 Series and the Porsche Carrera Cup. Welcome to the Super 2, the inaugural Super 2 Championship for the Transnation Supercar Series. I'm joined in commentary today by Sebastian Spicer, fellow supercar driver and also fellow F1 driver. Welcome to the commentary, Sebastian. We'll get you to start things up for us. So, without further ado, and so
howdy. Yeah, it's going to be a pretty close racing going on here. It's going to be really hard to look after tyre temperatures. It's very hot by Autodrome National Circuit. It's going to be some really tight racing. Really looking forward to it.
Well, so without further ado, we'll get straight into the action. So if you want to just hit us up on the start, and we'll get underway.
I think you have to.
Oh, okay, we've got a problem there. Oh no, never mind. Here we go. Okay, I don't understand how that works, but anyway, so the Dubai National Autodrome Circuit, it's 17 turns, 3.58 kilometres, kind of in some ways regards a little bit of Bahrain, a little bit of Abu Dhabi, kind of an interesting circuit, and I wouldn't call it a power circuit. I wouldn't really even call it an aero circuit. It's a very mixed breed of corners and straights. How would you go about it if you were in these guys' drivers' shoes? I mean, some of these guys have come from the Porsche into the supercar. Even with traction, these things are quite tricky to handle.
These things are pretty big beasts. So to handle one, you got to be nice and smooth. But you can't exactly. You can try and dragging the car around the circuit, then you're going to warm up the tyres, and that's probably not exactly going to help your tyre life over the long of the race. But qualifying, you might want to drag a good lap out of the car to get that great spot on the grid.
So I can already tell you, looking at the screen compared to what I've had to deal with the Porsche Carrera Cup and the Toyota 86 Series, it's already looking to be quite a big difference. So watching now is Tyler Beasley now on the circuit out in the number 5 Bismoni Falcon. So unfortunately the only cars in the category are the Ford Falcon FGs. Hopefully we see in future project cars that we see Holden come in and whatnot. So Tyler Beasley's been pretty competitive, especially in the Porsche Carrera Cup race. Had a good battle with Oliver Coleman. I think that's Cameron Betts up in front of him in the number 44 Kivanis, I think that's how you pronounce Kivanis Falcon. 2 pole positions to his name already in the first weekend out. Can he make it 3 on the trot? We don't know. Of course, we've got the main game coming up very shortly. Of course, we've got 2 races here, 2 20-lap races with a 15-minute qualifying for race 1 and then a 10-minute qualifying for race 2, and that's pretty much the same will happen for the Supercar Championship. So here comes Cameron Betts around the last corner. So Sebastian, if you want, run us through a virtual lap around the Dubai National Circuit.
Yeah, come around the final corner, you want to try and get a nice run onto the front straight. And all your gears up to 5th, up to 6th. At the end of one, you want to try and spot your braking point usually just about as the 300 metre board pops up. Into here, you want to get it relatively, hit the apex, which is relatively, missed it slightly, sort of a really tricky corner that sets the rear out a bit. In here, you're pretty wide as you sort of slide your car through. Through here, I usually like to take a lot of that inside curb. Very tricky braking zone into through here. You want to try and locate the apex of the corner and try and get a decent drive out of the corner. Relatively clean lap so far from the first run. In here, it's also another really tricky braking zone where you want to try and hold it out wide, tuck it in late, get a really late apex and right there. Short shoot, so there's the tight left rights. Very tricky to lose the rear in there. In here, you drop your rear to ruin your lap. In through here, relatively slow. Want to get a good drive through here. Usually short shift up. If she does, don't use too much track. Oh, you can validate a lap there. Pretty bad. Comes in around the final corner. Just misses the apex slightly, but get relatively decent drive out of it across the line.
Not really sure what the time would have been. As you say, is invalidated. So one of the best features about this game is that it gives you the notification of when a driver invalidates their qualifying lap. So a very intuitive qualifying so far at the moment. No one's really set a timer yet. We'll just get you to shift into the track side. Here we go, there. So another feature too is because the director, so Sebastian's working the cameras while I kind of try and work my way. Yeah, while I try and navigate my way and see what's going on. So watching here, Tyler Beasley's got Harry Lillis behind him, a new driver into the Transnation eSports series. Doesn't race in the Transnation Formula 1. Oh, that was a little... I think he was trying to get out of the way, but and as a result, Tyler's had a bit of a spin there. So Harry not making the best first impression straight off the get-go, but he'll be looking to try and make a good impression later down the road. Now, Oliver said something on the YouTube thing saying nobody saw that, and he was probably right. So Harry sets the first flyer of 125.8. Not too bad for a first outing. Round.
Also, he did stop on the circuit basically to let the Tyler through. So
yeah, and that didn't. It's pretty reasonable, irrespective. Yeah. So
respective time. Yep.
Nicholas Adams has done a 42 flat. Not too great there from the American, but of course he's probably still just trying to. He's going deep. Very deep, and very deep and around he goes. So he won't be wanting to do that too much. I think that's either Jordan or that's one other issue we've got. So that's Cameron Betts. That's gone up to P2 with a 32.6. So looks like the supercar's not quite what Cameron would have anticipated. A very different beast to the Toyota 86s and the Porsche Carreras. Though, even though the Porsches are relatively the same speed, the Porsches are definitely more aerodynamically efficient around a circuit like this, whereas the supercars just a little rear happy. You have to tweak the car quite a bit. But all in all, looks like everyone's been doing pretty well for themselves. Jordan currently P5 at the moment with no time, as is Oliver Coleman in the number 13 Satmal entry. Tyler's coming into the pit, so he's obviously not convinced on his tyre wear. We've got just under 10 minutes remaining on the clock, and the Bismoni entry, which is pretty much the car I'll be using for... I don't know what he was doing with that one, but oh, it's quite a bit of damage on the front of Oliver's car right there. So he's centre punched something, so the front of that car's had some better days. Got Jordan up to P2, it looks like. No, that's not. No, that wouldn't be. No, that's Cameron. Jordan is in P3 with a 32.6. So if Jordan keeps, if he keeps it up,
he can definitely.
Oh, he's got a bit.
In terms of the grid.
He's got a bit of damage on the front of his car too, actually. So looks like everyone's been in a little bit of wars. And Jordan's now in the pits.
One headlight blazing.
And now we're just watching Nicholas again, who's hasn't improved, but definitely has taken turn one a lot more traditionally. We'll put it traditionally. We'll just wait to see what Tyler and Oliver can do in regards to. He goes very wide out of. I actually lost track of what corner number that was. I think that might have been 3. Oh, and Harry's now gone to the top with a 22.9. So that's very good quick time there from the Australian. He was already top of the timesheets anyway, so gone and done better. Just also, Sebastian's just showing up the track map here, so you can actually see where your drivers are. Well, you can't actually see which driver is where, but you can actually see where the drivers are on the track and get an understanding of what. So currently watching Harry now coming through the fast left-hander, double apex, and then heading into this. It's very hard to explain what this kind of corner is. It's slow, it's
a very tricky braking zone. It's one of the braking zones that I'm actually not so confident in. I can't even find a braking point sometimes. too
Oh,
shallow, and then
he's
really
just.
close to the wall there.
I would have said he. Oh, and speaking of wall, there goes Nicholas into the fence there as well. So that's quite a bit of
That's some
damage.
heavy damage on this car. Probably jump a bit lane and get this car cleaned up a bit, might make it a bit more aerodynamically stable. Was it Oliver's jumped in the third, I believe. Ahead of Jordan. Some drivers finding the walls. I'm not quite sure where they're finding the wall around here.
Yeah, Oliver's is the most substantial damage, but it doesn't look like it's affecting his overall speed. I mean,
Might just be a bit of visual, so just truck along as he's lost the rear and where he went.
yeah, these drivers are gonna find it a lot trickier, but he's done a pretty reasonable time. He's up into P3 with a 27.1. Tyler's the only one now yet to set a time. And then as he goes around again, so doesn't look like he's going to just leave the lap. He's going to go for another one. Cameron Betts on screen now as he's trying to find 0.7 of a second to try and knock down Harry's time, and Harry's showing some pretty good pace at the moment. So 22.9, which is about the average, probably about the averaging of an actual supercar driver at the moment. So, and Jordan's gone, I'd say, very deep to let Cameron through there. Can't see whether he's made any gains through this sector. We've only got, what do we got? Just under 4 minutes, well, just over 4 minutes left. And as we look at the, okay, so this is what the standings bit does. So 0.7 of a second covers the top 2, 4 seconds covers the top 3, and then 9 seconds covers as Cameron now goes to the top 3/10.
Pulls out a pretty dandy time to go to the top, so definitely Harry's probably going to pit in, grab some new fresh rubber, go out and try and grab that pole position back off him. It's just half a tenth down Cameron from the first sector, so it's going on with it after that first race.
Yeah, so it doesn't look like anyone else is, and it looks like poor Tyler's just still not getting a good lap out, so he's obviously struggling. I mean, he did kind of be offered a position to race in the Super 2 for today, and probably for the rest of the season hasn't had the best start. Oliver just still looking to try and find a bit more time in his hand. He's done pretty well to sit P3. Jordan, despite a time being nearly 9 seconds slower than the car on the front, no improvement from Nicholas Adams either. So looks like every driver's just looking to try and find a rhythm. Cameron crosses the line, 2/100ths of a second.
At least he's finding consistency over his laps, so I reckon might have enough time to come in and chuck on a fresh set of rubber, but he'll probably only get one run out of it.
Yeah, so not too much time left. We got another spin there. Oliver's rolling back on the circuit as Jordan almost gets collected in the process. And then goes straight, dives to the pits, and then drives straight back out.
Great way to work it.
As he goes through Jordan into these sectors, we'll just keep on this for a minute here and watch Jordan at work. So as he comes through this corner here, you can actually carry a lot more speed than a lot of people actually may first think. If you run the dynamic racing line, you actually find that the line tells you to brake at a certain point, but I found that you can actually find a lot more time if you actually can carry the car into the corner with a fair amount of speed and then try and wash it off as you go through. And then here, you want to take a wide line, and Jordan's actually taken quite a good line through there. He just hasn't quite got the traction to pull something out of it, but still hanging through the sector here. He's found a pretty decent braking marker actually, that's not too bad. And then from this angle it's very hard to see how they're approaching that that complex. It goes super wide out of the exit of that corner, which is not too hard to do if the car's not hooking itself up. So probably Jordan fighting a lot of understeer from the looks of it. Car's just not wanting to turn in as much as it wants, so he should be able to improve his time. Crosses it over, no improvement. So we got 50 seconds left on the clock. What can Harry do here? Not seeing any. See, the one thing I'm not seeing on this thing is splits that show you the sector times, and you don't actually get to see a like a digital display of showing what the times they're setting through different sectors. So probably something they could work on as we get a good shot now of how they approach the corner. He's got Nicholas Adams in front of him, but Nicholas shouldn't really impact his run too much through here. He comes around the pile to corner. Actually, I'll take that back a little bit. Nicholas was just very wide just to get off the accelerator a little bit there and let Harry through. This will be... Actually, he'll get across the line for one more run on this, but he'll cross the line, does the fastest lap. So he's absolutely brained them on the last run.
He's pulled it off too.
Yeah, I don't think he would. Well, you got to be you want to be careful with that one, because then don't want to be doing that kind of stuff in front of other drivers too. So I think Nicholas made his intentions a bit clear that he wasn't too thrilled with the weaving. No improvement from.
I'm not a huge fan of people weaving, especially with these big clunky cars. So be a bit dangerous weaving the car around.
So can Cameron find 0.4 of a second? He probably could, but we'll just see. Oh, that could have been a little off put there. Coming around the last two bends.
Lost the rear.
Yeah, and that will be that'll be game over. So and decides to drift it off. So Harry Lillis takes the first Super 2 pole for season 2019 and denies Cameron Betts a three-peat. So great job there by Harry there. We're just waiting to see, there must be another driver on the circuit. Tyler's actually managed to get himself up into P4 with a 27.5, so looks like Connor, Oliver and Tyler could continue their string of battle from the Porsche Carrera Cup race. So quite a big stretch from the first to 6, 10 seconds the difference. Nicholas actually managed to pull in a 29.8 to actually go ahead of Jordan there. So Jordan will make up the last position on the grid as he did in the Carrera race, but we'll see what happens in the race. So we now wait for the drivers to set themselves up, get themselves prepared for this race. So getting a supercar off the line, not the easiest thing to do. Rear wheel drive.
Obviously very cautious on traction, pretty powerful machine, so you don't want to get too much wheel spin. You want to try and transition your clutch off nicely and get a decent start. Start's probably not vital in this sort of race because I'm personally expecting a couple of mistakes from these drivers, but if they don't pull any mistakes out, reckon they'll go a long way to doing well.
So apparently, according to Nicholas, the car, he set the car up on his wheel but ended up on his pad, so he's done that initiation issue. So just waiting for...
Oh, that's a bit... Yeah, that's a bit painful.
Not sure what's going on here at the moment. The cars are just stationary on the grid at the moment. Nobody's...
I believe we're just waiting for everyone to pick their race strategies, I believe, because usually there's 2 minutes that they get to pick the strategy.
Yeah, so
When they're
I think
already-
we saw this in the start of the Porsche race where one of the drivers' cars started then just go sporadically out of control, and they ended up not partaking in the race. So I wonder if we're going to see something like that. So unfortunately, with standing starts, we don't get the formation lap, which is a bit disappointing to say the least. But you can see it here. You've got 6 cars on the grid, different racecrafts. And everyone very eager to take that elusive first inaugural Super 2 race win. And Harry Lillis has done a very good job to get that off the marker. So taking a short time. Here we go. So we're finally in. So the first race of the inaugural Transnation Super 2 Championship. It's Ford versus Ford on the front row. It's lights out, away we go, and Oliver Coleman has had a beautiful start from the line. So has Jordan Dittmer. They're going to go 4 wide down the main straight. This is going to be a recipe for disaster here. As they go through, oh, there's a huge... Jordan Dittmer's been absolutely destroyed. And Harry Lillis is being caught through all this. Tyler Beasley now leads the race. What has happened to poor Jordan in that conflict?
Oh, Jesus. That's like a tiny bit of overlap and then a bit of contact led to another and around you went.
And we've got
to get footage.
Oliver's around as well, and that's... Oh, that could explain where he might have got that damage from last race. Well, from the qualifying. He might have done it there as well, but that's definitely the most chaotic start I've seen of a race this at the moment. But Tyler Beasley's absolutely brained them off the start, and he leads them off with a 1.4 second gap over Harry Lillis. Then Cameron Betts, Nicholas Adams has managed to get out of that pretty well. We'll just track back to where Jordan is at the moment, see if he's managed to... Yep, there he is, and his yeah, looks like he didn't lose a wheel. So as far as the car goes, that's costly though. That's going to put him a lap down, if not more, judging by the amount of damage. He's got no front wing, his front spoiler's dangling by a thread. He's got no rear assembly. But yeah, good start by Tyler Beasley. He leads them off into turn 1 for the second time. Harry Lillis will be in P2 and Cameron Betts P3. So getting back to that start procedure, it was a beautiful start by Oliver actually, and the initial first jump was really on point, but looked like he got a little bit of wheel spin coming out of the secondary part of the start, which then caused him to run into the side of Harry a little bit, and speaking of which, goes wide coming out of that corner there. But yeah, so then Jordan, of course, probably using full traction, got the best of the start out of everyone, and made it 4 wide, and then just a little bit of confusion as the camera panned off, and next thing you see Jordan absolutely pirouetting up in the air, and speaking of which, he's now just managed to get into the pits. So this will be an interesting telling point of what kind of...
get some bodywork put back on the car. It looks like he's got some steering damage as well. It's probably the least of my worries before I was in Jordan's. It's lucky he's still in the race.
Yeah, exactly, and we don't like seeing those kind of accidents. We're definitely going to probably have a full-blown investigation on probably what happened there. And as you can see now, the car suddenly bright as rain, although it still harbours the scuff mark from the initial contact. So he prays out of it as he now drops officially a lap down. So the gap 1.6 seconds after the second lap of 20. Of course, these guys have 2 races across the weekend. So at the moment,
they're relatively holding stable, whereas Harry's sort of just pulling it back in through the first sector, but I reckon it's a matter of time before Harry actually gets onto the back of him. We'll have a race on our hands.
As we just lose one of our regulars from the party chat, we actually shouldn't. We should have probably made our own party chat, but in saying that, we were just kind of eager to get this underway. Yeah, so as you say, yeah, Harry does seem to be quite strong in the first sector, and then Tyler seems to bring it back up in the second sector, and because of that, he just managed to hold ground. There's quite a bit of damage actually on the back of Harry's car, in the rear assembly, so it's taken quite a bit of a whack there.
Speaking about that, Buddy Owen's got a bit of damage on his front wing. Might have went up there. asses. Harry then. Obviously, what he...
Oh, and speaking of Harry, he's actually just gone very wide out of... Well, he's gassed it up a bit too much coming out of the S's, and this will give Cameron... Actually, Cameron's been quietly gaining up on these two as well, so Tyler's been able to hold the ground, the gap now out to 2 seconds, while Harry now has a battle on his hands with Cameron Betts. Oliver's actually managed to get past Nicholas through all this, so Nicholas just looking to try and establish something. I think has Jordan come out of the pits yet, or is he still... Yeah, he's out of the pits now. He's coming through the last sector, so I thought he would have been in the pits a lot longer given the amount of damage he had, but I guess maybe it was, like you say, a lot more visual than it was.
He's just got to consolidate, get some points.
Well, that's all there is to it. Unfortunately, the Project Cars 2 system doesn't incorporate reverse grids or standatory grid procedures, so basically every race has to have a qualifying session. So the second session will be only a 10-minute qualifying, and it'll pretty much be smack bang straight after this race, so the drivers won't have too much time. As Cameron had a look there and Harry responded with defensiveness, but Cameron's looking very feisty on the back of that number 29 Exeter Falcon there, and we're now right on board with Cameron as he tries to find a way past this Falcon, the Australian doing his absolute best, being their sole Australian actually, in amongst a battling group of British drivers, and of course Jordan from New Zealand, as Cameron goes up the inside and gets the job done. So good overtake there by Cameron. In fact, in saying that, their battling hasn't actually done much in the way of losing ground. They've actually managed to keep the gap to Tyler quite consistent, as Harry goes again up the inside at 1. Not an ideal overtaking spot unless you've got the actual... or a bit of biff and barging. This is what you see, and this is what you don't see in Formula 1 racing. And gets the job done again. Races, maybe. yeah. When there's nothing left to lose for those who aren't in the championship picture anymore. Well, although we did see last season in the F1 great battle between the top 3 in the championship for the crown.
I believe Oliver is actually out of the race.
Hey, it does too. Just noticed his name's disappeared. I'll just double check on the
top 3 fighters. Tom Rock. Amazing show for us.
Well, Harry not very confident coming out of the
all over the back of Harry.
Oh, and Tyler's off.
Made a mistake.
He's thrown away the race lead. But luckily he's not in a position, he hasn't lost ground, he's just lost the 2 positions. But here comes Cameron now for the lead. Cameron will just be sitting there thinking, okay, so I've had 2 pole positions and they've both been they both haven't given me a race win. Maybe if I qualify second it might change, but we'll just see what's going on. I'll just check to see if there's anything in regards to what's happened to Oliver. Apparently he's talking about his brake is dead, so it only does 20% when he slams on it. So Oliver so he's parked it up on brake mechanical issues. Harry all over the show. I'm just noticing, just throwing the car every which way he can to try and actually stay with these guys. Tyler's managed to actually get back through on him through all this. I actually didn't notice that. These 3 battles are actually pulling themselves out of gap to 33.6 seconds over Nicholas, who's just running an absolute race of his own. Oh, huge lock up there by Tyler as he enters into the corner, but he still managed to pull it up quite nicely. So he's struggling on the acceleration. I'd say it's probably coming to a point that these tyres might be just having a little bit of a whinge at the moment. I wouldn't say that they're degrading too much, but the tyre temperatures would definitely be kind of pushing along and making a point that it's saying, yeah, I'm not so sure about this anymore, as Harry tries to go up the inside, but
he's trying to get on the power a bit too early.
Yeah, I think he was trying to make an overtake. Once he felt the rear starting to step out from him, he thought, no, not worth it, and backed off. So he's made a a very wise decision there not to cause an accident by keeping the foot on the floor and then spinning and then likely taking Tyler with him. So I just noticed too, actually, if you look at... Oh, speaking of Tyler, he's done it again. And this time he's actually given the wall... Whoa, he's given the whole left-hand side of the car a big whack. I'd say if we try and ride on board with him, as Oliver disconnects, try and ride on board with Tyler at some point and see if his car is facing left-hand down. Cockpit. We'll just wait and see, just wait till he straightens it up and we'll see if he's got steering damage at the moment. Oh, actually, he's trying to keep it together, he's trying to pull it together, Actually, I can just see it there, yeah, he's definitely got left hand down, so he's got a bit of steering damage. He might want to try and bring that in and get it rectified. There's somebody's gone... Well, someone's had a bit of fun in the thing, and Nicholas Adams is now coming in, so there's quite a bit of damage on the... Actually, there's quite a lot of damage in general, as Jordan now, actually, I just caught a glimpse there of Jordan slowing down to let the lapped traffic through, so that's 2 laps down, I think Jordan is now, behind the leaders. Jordan probably just thankful, like you say, that he's actually still in the race and still giving it a red hot go.
To come out, grab some valuable points for the season. Who knows, if he stays consistent, finishing races, he can finish a decent spot in the championship.
So according to Oliver, he was in hysterics because of Jordan flying, so he said he couldn't race when he was laughing so much, so the Jordan incident must have been quite big. And
might be an issue here because Tyler's still sitting in the pits.
Yeah, and it looks like we've lost Nicholas as well, so could this be yet another drama here for Tyler Beasley? I wonder. We'll just wait and see what's going on. Might be just a glitch on our end. There was quite a bit of damage on his car, so maybe it's just... we'll just wait and see what's happened there. But apparently he went in the wrong pit box, and according to Nicholas, too much damage and was forced to retire, so not good for these drivers, and that's actually put Jordan up to position 4. Tyler's now just coming out of pit lane, so yeah, report had it he was in the wrong pit box.
Not something you want to do in a long race?
No.
Out in front of Jordan.
Well, coming at racing in the pits anyway, coming into the pits in a race that doesn't require them isn't a good strategy either, but so Cameron Betts now with a 5.2 second gap over Harry Lillis. It's very interesting to see what's going to play out for this. So we're just coming up to the 10 lap mark, which is pretty much the conclusion of the Sorry, I've got this. Toyotas. Yeah.
There we go.
Bit of a mind blank there for a second.
It's gonna leave you with it, but then.
No, I would have been there a while. But yeah, so it looks like the stewards or the marshals have cleaned up that incident that I think might have been what caused Nicholas to be out of the race. Looks like there was a lot of damage there, and Cameron's just having a controlled race at the moment. Definitely not one of the most cleanest races I've seen over the weekend, but I think we've always...
come out and done the job.
Oh yeah, well I think we've always...
10 laps to go, so I won't say too much.
No, but I mean we've seen it in real life Super2 versus the Supercar main game. Super2 drivers just play for sheep stations. They don't... They're young,
But they want to prove themselves so they can see what they can accomplish.
And yeah, and some teams will just say, here's your car, do what you want with it, bring it back in somewhat decent one piece, you know, bring it back with all 4 wheels. Yeah, keep the engine. Jordan, well, he's accomplished that much, but I'm sure he would have wanted something more out of that start. I mean, it was definitely the best start, as Jordan's name's just inherited a red marker on it, which I'm not 100% sure what that means. I saw it in, and Cameron's just made a bit of a ballsy there. I wonder if that means that they're in close proximity of each other, because suddenly now Tyler's name's gone red as well. But looking at the map, I'm not seeing anything, so I wonder if that's maybe that's indicating that they're a lap down, so could be that. Because when you look at on the map versus the people behind in front, their icons are red, whereas Jordan's is blue. So these two must be on the... No, these two can't. Jordan must be 3 laps down by now. I'm just thinking about it, because he's 3 minutes behind the leader, and it's roughly about an average... As he... can't knock him for not giving it a go. Yeah, the splits don't... Nothing's helping.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, nothing's helping, so I don't think it doesn't matter too much. They've delivered, and then now the race is kind of stagnated out. Actually, Harry's just dropped quite a significant amount of time all of a sudden, as he is
struggling with tyre temperatures. Obviously, with Tyler being a lap down after that little muck up in the pit stop.
Definitely looks like he's had more pace over, because I think Harry was in front of Tyler actually, so I think Tyler's managed to get that spot back, as it looks like Harry's actually going to make a stop. So under the rules and regulations of the Super 2 category, they don't actually have to make a pit stop. So what they're doing now is completely by choice.
Yeah, maybe their tyre temperatures are a bit too high, maybe tyre wear's a bit higher than forecast.
Of course, the supercars will be driving at an ambient of the night, so he's been
waved. I'm confused.
He's been waved back. I think, has he actually been waved through by his team? Has his team waved him out again? I wonder if that's a huge mistake there by Harry. But interesting question is, will Cameron react as though he thought that Harry was coming in for a stop? I don't think he will. I mean, depends on what the...
I think the red means lap down. Something, I don't know.
It seems a bit weird though, because I don't recall Harry going a lap down at any given stage, and he's only 37 seconds behind the leader.
I'm confused. I don't know what the red means. Maybe invalid lap.
Could be. Well, we'll definitely have to do some research for now. What is Cam up to? Oh, he must have had a slow down penalty. And now
Definitely something like that.
He definitely, because well, that's what cost him in the Toyota 86 race. He was slowing down a lot, so which indicated he must have had a lot of slow down penalties, and then served the drive-through on the second to last lap, which gave Alex Little the race lead, and then of course couldn't be headed and took the race win from Jaden Felter. But I think I don't know if penalties played a part in that, but Cameron should have finished second outright, so I don't know what to make of that. The stewards are having an investigation on that one. Still no further evidence on that one just yet. Depending on the way things go, I'd say race 2 will probably be a bit more out there, especially if the start was like that. We expect to see a lot more.
Another start like that, we'll get another exciting start to the race.
And Jordan in the pits again, so don't know what. Although Jordan was saying that he didn't like the softs too much, so it must be. Let's have a look. So a tyre stop? Yes, it is. No, it's not. It's a.
Have you got a bit of damage or struggling on fuel? Didn't
No,
put enough fuel in the car.
fuel usually comes first, then tyres, then repair, but judging by the fact he's just sitting there, I'd say you've hit it right that he's got some damage and he's just... Doesn't look like... Although the car looks still moderately in one piece from the last time he came in. I wonder if he's just...
There we go.
Maybe some bent steering.
Front bonnet's a bit lifted. It's the inside there.
Yeah.
Realise that.
So maybe a bit of bent steering, or this car. This is not a single straight car in the field.
Yeah, he's got a bit of bang up in the front end of his car. Oh, sorry, cab. Sorry about that.
So Cameron's still trucking along now, out still holding a 38.4 second lead over Harry. Now Harry hasn't been back in since that pit misdemeanor, so I don't know what to make of that or what's going to go on. I'm sure he'll let us know at the end of the session. Of course, they do have pretty much another race straight after this one. So, well, straight after this one with another qualifying session under their belt. So. Maybe we'll see some of the guys that didn't make it to the first race show up for the second one. Speaking of Harry, showing on screen now. Currently got Jordan Dittmer behind him, but Jordan won't be racing full position. Jordan probably now about 3 or 4 laps down. You'll want to hope that he doesn't get automated when the race finishes, because that will be deemed as a non-classification, so you'll want to be careful about that. Lap 14 of 20, so we're just now reaching the final distance to the Porsche Carrera Cup race, so 5 more laps, and then of course for the supercars, I did say 45 laps in the Porsche race. It's now been reduced to 2 25 lap races, just for the sake of probably taking too long. And we don't know, we haven't had we'll be honest here, so Sebastian and I are part of the committee, or the CEOs of the championship, and we'll openly admit we have not done a hell of a lot for this. This really came at us too quickly, what with F1 2019 being as good as it was, and practicing that a lot.
Too much on F1, so
we
quite help with fixing, or not going to fix it, but promoting supercars into that. I believe that it should be.
In saying that, it's done a good job so far. We've had pretty decent attendance for the first 3 events of the calendar. I mean, the supercars still got about another 2 hours before starting. Usually under GD Sport regulations we could have done a qualifying, then waited and then done a race, so under these regulations we can't quite do that, so we'll just have to play things by ear. So 2:30 New Zealand Standard Time will be the start of race 1 of the championship, and then race 2 at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, which then caps off the weekend in general. And then of course we go to the F1 League tomorrow, and then for those who watch us on the GT, the Grand Trans Nation Gaming channel, we'll also be doing, we'll just be fluffing around on GTA 5 with a handful of people, just causing chaos and mischief and going to the odd strip joint or two. So watch that space. So currently watching Tyler Beasley on board now as he goes through the complex, as we'll call it. If you remember Abu Dhabi, Sebastian, the supercar variation, that's very reminiscent of that, only in the reverse of, because they...
downhill section at the end of through the first sector.
It wouldn't hurt actually to not do the circuit backwards. I don't think it would be... Just having a look at the track now and just trying to envision it backwards, it wouldn't be too bad. The last turn would be an uphill rise instead of the downhill.
Sort of braking zone. So coming around a little pink.
Yeah. And then the last turn would be an uphill. Well, it would go into an uphill because you go down before you make the turn. So I think here would be a hell of a lot easier though, because you're not throwing the car around as much.
Might be a bit cautious on traction out of here though.
Oh yeah, this would be actually a lot more treacherous, but Tyler's slowing down all of a sudden. No, I didn't think. I was thinking maybe a mechanical issue, but you don't see that too much unless you're absolutely revving the tripe out of your car. Now, the gap out front moved out to 40 seconds now, so I think Cameron Betts is definitely looking like getting some redemption for the last two races, or last two categories he's raced in, not getting the race win after.
Third time's a charm.
After two straight pole positions, 2 second places to go to his name, and then this time he qualifies on the front row, second place, but now it looks like he could be getting his first win of the weekend. But
another slow down, I believe.
And what do you? So if you were to compare the 3 games, F1 2019, Gran Turismo Sport, and Project Cars 2, which penalty system would you prefer?
Well, you got F1s, which is it gives you the penalty and then you don't slow down, which Project Cars, if you slow down, if you're too close to someone, it might cause an accident in terms of someone not expecting you to slow down out of nowhere. So in terms of safety, in terms of racing, F1's got the right one, but I personally prefer Project Cars. GT Sports, I don't really care.
Well, with the GT Sport one, it kind of gives you the option. It's either you slow down, reduce your penalty, or you just carry on, take the penalty. F1, like you say, just gives you the penalty outright, and there's nothing you can do about it. And then, of course, Project Cars 2, you've got the option of slowing down, or they'll just give you the outright penalty. So Project Cars kind of sits in between both the penalty systems of GT Sport and F1, so it's kind of the best of both worlds.
I'm personally not a huge fan of the GT Sport one, because basically you can still sit at race pace and then over time maybe lift off the brake a bit in braking and reduce your time. Penalty over time. So yeah, you're not exactly getting penalised for it. You're forced to lift off early and that, but it's not exactly a big penalty. You're just losing time over the race distance where you don't lose it in one big heap.
In saying that though, we were always running with the weakest penalty system in the game, apart from certain tracks that we knew that were gonna be track extending. Like, I think there was only one track that we ever did in that whole last season that ended up with the penalty system being. Now, has
Tyler missed his pit box again? Or?
No, I think he is in.
No.
I think it looks like Harry might be coming in this lap, judging by his pit crew, and he's gonna respectfully. Oh, I think he might have just ran over the toes of one of Harry's front right guy.
That'll hurt.
That would hurt. So lap 19. So we've only got a couple of laps left to go now, and Tyler and Cameron Betts will take a race win. So for Jordan, this is pit stop number 4. And actually, as we say that, Cameron's
very late. Think about it.
It's the final lap, so he's coming on the final lap. Now, if Harry... Let's see, the gap's 30 seconds. Oh, he's overshot his marker.
Oh, that's not good. Harry is...
Oh, the timer's...
Split screen, sort of.
The timer's going absolutely bonkers at the moment, trying to figure out what the actual gap is. Where is he? He's just coming through... Oh, this could be... If I was Harry... Harry! What are you doing? You've just probably... Oh, Harry. Oh, well... I would have thought that... Actually, I'm just looking at it now. That would have been really touch and go. I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm actually not... I'm not convinced.
Cameron would have came out of the pits with a bit colder tyres, but obviously this track, because it's so hot and in the desert, it'll warm up the tyres pretty quickly.
Yeah, I just wasn't too sure if Harry would have come out in front actually looking at that, because he was entering the pit lane as Cameron was exiting it, so that would have been hard to say. But
I think the last time Harry came in, I think he actually missed his pit box. I think that's what happened.
so he went into the wrong. I see what you mean. So he's gone in, missed his pit marker, and gone into the next one, which is not his one, and then they've basically he's just been forced to deal with it. But I would have thought he would have come straight back in knowing that. But either which way, I suppose it doesn't matter. Very lucky for Cameron Betts in a way that Harry did what he did. Could have changed the outcome of the race big time, but for Cameron Betts, 2 poles, 2 second places, he's gonna gas it up. Probably a little,
He's got time to celebrate.
There is a forced cool down lap though, he can do it then, but either which way, 2 poles and 2 second places, second place in the Super 2, and he'll greet the checkered flag and win race 1 of the Dubai National Autodrome 500 for the Super 2 event. So that's how Jordan did it. He's lucky that these cars don't transfer over to the second race, or else he would have just been completely thrown himself out of championship, throwing himself out of race 2 contention there. Across the line comes Tyler Beasley. He'll take P3 a lap down, and then Harry will take P2. Jordan, I don't think is going to cross the line in time. Jordan. No, so unfortunately for Jordan, he will not be classified. So that 4th place has just gone to waste. So we'll pretty much not waste too much time. What I will do...
those penalties.
Yeah.
Harry's got 59 seconds worth of penalties.
Very nearly lost 3rd place, or 2nd place as a result of that, but... Although, despite Jordan's DNF, he has still inherited some points there, so... good news for Jordan there, and I think it's now up to you to end the session as we go to the second race. I'll just notify the guys that there's still another race to go. So I'll just get you to return us back to the main menu.
Boom.
Oh, actually, I didn't need to wait for you, actually. That was silly. So, race 1, of course, this is a round honouring system. Not one we're going to be using in the Supercar Championship, but definitely for the Super 2. I will just quickly get us into there. So we'll just wait and see. So what did you make of that race then, Sebastian? Just give us your insight on that.
What's it? Pretty close quali in terms of Cam and Harry into the race. Pretty 4 wide start going in the 1. Pretty exciting first half of the race, but then probably died down a bit as the field sort of spread. Mistakes started happening. Cam came out of it with probably least amount of mistakes, least amount of penalties, more consistent. Walked away with the first win of Super 2.
So we're just waiting to see all the people come back. Put the assists on. Oh, is that what's... Hang on, I'll just check the rules and the realism settings. No, yeah, everything's as is. He should be, probably just got them still set from when he was racing in supercars. We'll just... God damn it. Okay, so we'll just... Just getting all the... I'll tell you through the stream, Tyler, since you're listening. You go down on the D-pad and then you select it through the train strategy system.
As we're having a rest in between races, I'm just going to go get a glass of water.
No problem. So the second Super 2 race, of course, we don't have staggered grids or anything like that. We will have a shortened qualifying session before the so that only took just under an hour, so yeah, that should give us enough time to we'll just take a quick break here, and when we come back, we'll have uninterrupted coverage.
The fear of losing is far greater than the fear of being hurt, and that means that you've very much got to weigh up your opponents to see where they are, and you're wheel to wheel with these guys. They're in a strong situation, their car is running well, and you're both in a good position. At that point, it's like playing high-speed poker. All you can do is try and gauge the profile of your opponent right, and hope that you've hope you come out in front of him.
I'm back.
Okay, so we're back with coverage for the rest of this race. I don't think we're going to actually have too many more.
Let's got some of the drivers back in.
Just double check a setting here, so I won't be a second, and then once I'm back we'll get straight into it. We won't worry too much about the rest of the system. So oh, never mind, I did actually have it set.
Well, we're just testing them.
Yeah. So, alright, so we'll jump straight into it. So, now that I'm here, I can do... So, 4 drivers will partake in the final 20 laps of the weekend for the Super 2. Another 10-minute qualifying, just a short one, just to get them pretty much sort the grid out again for race 2. So, in saying that, if Jordan's start with no traction was absolutely amazing then. I thought because he just turns out that I did have the setting set that he couldn't force, that I had to force driver aids off. I would say
I was a bit confused because every now and then I was seeing people lock up.
Yeah,
I didn't know that they ran.
It looks like
No
it was
ABS.
it was a setting that I must have put on that was forcing drivers to have to use not use driver aids. So this could change the story a little bit for a few drivers, Jordan Dittmer in particular. So a 10-minute blast for today's second race, and then of course another 20 laps and follows, and then of course the two 25-lap races at 2:30 later on this afternoon. So we've seen a good qualifying battle here between Cameron and Harry. Will we see that again? Or can Jordan surprise us now that his assists are back on? We'll see in future time. You're only going to get really, at the moment, about 2 runs for this session. You get about 3 runs in a 15-minute session. This one's only going to be about 2, so you've got to get this absolutely
Obviously,
nailed.
You might. Sorry. Pardon me. You might get more runs in as this game allows the option of return to bid. If the drivers end up using it, so I'm not exactly for, but
not the most it's not the most realistic option that you've got, but then again, neither is resetting the track, but they gave that for most games, so we'll just see just have a look on this lap, and we'll just have a look and run through the lap as it goes through. So into turn 1, very nicely put into turn 1, uses the apex quite to full effect, gets a bit of a slide coming out of 2 as he gasses up through 3, and then 4 and 5 want to nail this perfectly, because then if you get it right, the next series of corners will be absolutely brilliant. This is actually so far probably one of the best laps I've seen in any category so far. It's been absolutely clean and on point. Cameron Betts is just showing these people all the hard work he's been putting into for Project Cars 2 over F1. Of course, he pulled out after the valuations from F1 2019, but now he's just showing. He's never raced these cars, so he's already come in, he's already showing some good solid racing already in them, and this lap has just been absolutely on point. Comes around the last series of corners, Harry gets out of his way respectfully, coming through the last turn. How does he approach it? Gets it on the 50, so that would be assuming that he is not using ABS, or he is using ABS. As he crosses the line, a 22.9, so almost equals his. He almost equals
these cars are the best cars in the world, but that's just me being Australian. I'm a bit biased about it.
Well, I think we're both quite biased about it being. The category's always been top notch. It's always been the closest qualifying, the closest of close racing, and always bumper to bumper with the odd occasional beef here and there. But I mean, which motorsport category doesn't have a fair share of beef? I mean, you got motorcycle racers coming off their bikes because of other motorcycle riders, and they tend to, oh, Harry's just. And look at the difference. And see, this is the primary difference that you look at. Cameron is so smooth and precise with his corner inputs. Harry's just throwing the car in every which way, trying to find that little bit of extra time through these corners. So just looking through here, it's probably this sector that lets him down quite a bit. He seems to throw the car everywhere other than there, as he now puts it on the curb and loops it around. Not a hard thing to do, especially on that corner. If you grab the curb there, the rear just doesn't seem to want to grip up, and then it just throws you off. So Tyler Beasley on screen now, who's tackling now the same piece of road. See how he approaches it, stays away from the curb. There is a bit of an undulation into that corner. It kind of is reminiscent to Russia a little bit in that that off-camber set of corners. So you do need to kind of stay off the curb, because then there's a bump that'll just launch you.
Definitely
so Tyler,
one of the most cautious zones for me where I am on throttle.
Tyler Beasley, 23.5. That's a good time for Tyler, considering his previous was a
pace.
And his previous lap time was a yeah, his previous lap time was only.
Damage once again.
He's definitely Emerald messaging that he's forgotten about the race for the Porsche. He'll be probably here for the supercars. He has to be. He's my goddamn teammate.
I'm hoping Bailey's here. If he's not here, we're screwed.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, I think, like we said, we haven't had so much in the way of practicing on this game. I don't think there's actually going to be a clear. I would hate to think that.
Some people, it's got to be mistakes.
As Cameron now goes to the top with a 22.8. Oh, he improves to a 22.8. Waiting to see what Harry can do. He hasn't put anything on the board just yet, neither has Jordan, but yeah, Tyler's lap is 2 seconds faster than his previous qualifying time, so that's a big improvement from... Yeah, just
Tyler still struggling with the rear of his car. He's quite to get it to grip up.
I'm wondering if he's trying to run a setup here, and the setup's just not... Of course, the supercars don't incorporate a parc fermé regulation like the supercars, the Formula 1 does. Well, they're trying to incorporate a parc fermé policy, but of course these cars are not officially licensed to Project Cars 2, so they won't incorporate any of the rules that the Virgin Australia Supercar Championship is running.
So proven that there's only the Falcon in this.
Exactly. If they'd lumped it in with another category, it would have been a lot. Always he's gassed it up a bit too much, and that's the rear. So, yeah, I mean...
Definitely struggling. Maybe he's not locking the rears under braking. Probably not getting enough throttle on the downshifts to help with the engine.
Yeah, and this game, unlike Formula 1, does require a lot of engine braking just to get the car to kind of square up into the corner. So he's definitely, I would say, as he's... Oh, the rear's just not glowing to the ground at all. I would say he's probably got too much downforce in the front, which means the rear is too light, and it's not sticking to the ground as much as he'd like it to, and he needs to kind of just try and find a balance between it, as we now just watch Jordan here. Jordan now, hopefully with his assists on, should be a bit more of an open challenge. Still gassing it up, but the rear, but he holds it up as it goes across the line. Goes P3 with a 2 minute 20.6, almost a whole minute slower than Cameron Betts. But Tyler, will be interesting to see if he could mount a challenge to... Elton Jordan's going for a ride. Very, very different turn of events, actually, when you think about it, with Harry. His qualifying time in the first race was quite on point, and the car looked quite stable. So, I don't know whether it's the time of day difference or the difference in temperature. The car just doesn't seem to want to handle the flow of things as much as previous. So, very interesting to see that in effect, and we'll be curious to see what happens down the road. What the hell? Hang on 1 minute.
Cameron comes into turn 1 relatively cautious the first sector, trying to get... Not sure if he's on a lap, doesn't look relatively quick. Basically run wide. Jordan, oh, hold it a bit. Still struggling on traction, even though assists have been put back on. Well, he's decided to equip him back, but Jordan's still struggling with traction at that final corner.
Yeah, so it doesn't look like he's Yep, so that's the 10-minute session over. And it looks like it's going to be 4 poles out of 3 poles out of 4 attempts for Cameron Betts, but he'll know that he won't want to be too conceited to the idea of taking pole and winning the race, because he's seen from two races already that hasn't been quite the case, unless Tyler can pull something out of his arse here. And I use that term quite loosely. God, that was wrong even. I dug myself a deeper hole and more said that.
God damn it.
So around the last corner comes Tyler. Can he knock Cameron off his pedestal? He's losing control. He's trying to keep it together. No improvement. Don't even know what the...
I think he knew he didn't have it. I think he was just sort of gassing it up, having a bit of fun across the line.
But it's a front row start for Tyler, unless Jordan's got something in his weight care. He's got to try and beat a 2-minute 20.6, which surely
Should be hard to do. You think
shouldn't.
about it?
Yeah, I mean, surely he's got pace in that. Let's just see how he... Definitely a lot smoother out of the last turn. He's starting to get the idea that he can't gas it up. Was it an improvement? It was a 35, I think it was.
I believe so.
1 minute 35.9. So Harry at the back of the field with no time set.
The session is a tad bit slower because Cameron in Quali 1 was doing 22.6s. Whereas
Yes.
Harry done a real blitzing time in the first session. So, and then just couldn't sort of convert his car to get a lap out. Maybe rear end just not exactly stable enough for him.
So apparently, according to Harry in the first race, apparently he had an unnecessary drive-through. So he'd been given a drive-through penalty somewhere through the race.
Oh, so that's why he
must have thought he needed a pit stop. He must have thought it was a stop-go. So
confused us doing that.
So Tyler Beasley, Cameron Betts on the front row, and then Jordan Dittmer and Harry Lillis. Yeah, the grid's a bit smaller than it was when it started, but come next weekend at Algarve, we should be back with our usual numbers of 11 drivers. And then, of course, we don't really know what the supercars is going to bring. We'll figure that out one way or another. It's good for the people that turn up, though. They get the points, so... For the likes of Jordan, yeah, he's not the quickest of the bunch. He's not... You could honestly say he's not even the top 3 of this 4-car field, but he's there, he's getting points, and that's going to help him in that
That's
little...
just being mean.
Well, it is being... Anyway, so... Race 2 of the Super 2 race here at the Dubai Autodrome. It's a Ford front row, it's a Ford second row, it's Fords everywhere, it's lights out, and away we go, and it's another good start there by Tyler Beasley. Jordan's had another good start too, but he's going to be a bit complacent in where he goes in this part. Cameron's going to try and go down the inside. Tyler's going to hold the line as much as he can. He's going to go deep into brakes. Harry down the inside of Jordan at turn 1, and Tyler goes...
Jordan's already made it further throughout the race start that he did in the first one.
You spoke too soon a little bit there, but Tyler went absolutely balls in deep into turn 1, and that cost him big ground as he got shoved. Well, he forced himself out wide, and that's allowed Cameron Betts back through, and Harry now looking to try and use the start to get a mirror. I swear to God.
What's he doing?
He's gone and said even in PC2 Fords are dominating. It's kind of hard. It's kind of easy when the whole field is a bunch of Fords. But
God damn it, if you're wrong.
either which way, I mean. So Jordan's already dropped 11 seconds back to the rest of the field, so he's just, like you say, just going out there getting some points and having a good time. And this battle up the front's going to be quite interesting to see how that progresses. All the drivers will now have an understanding of what to expect from their and Harry again, rear end.
I don't want to say anything, but I was full on just about to say that his rear end did seem like it was holding up throughout the first lap, then turns out it wasn't.
So that kind of changes the complexion of the race already, but like as I was saying, the drivers now know what they come to expect from these cars, from the fuel load, from the tyre load, the tyre temperatures. They should have a general understanding now of what to do to modulate these things. Heavy about 2,000 kilo, 650 horsepower, rear wheel cars coming through these tight swinging corners. It's not the best on the tyres, especially through here. The tyre load on the front left cops probably the most pain out of the 4 tyres on the car. So the key in a pit stop race, which the Super 2 won't really have until the Enduros, as looks like Tyler might have just actually mounted the curb on the entry into that corner. The way about it is quite unique, so we'll stay on board with Tyler here as he comes around the last corner to try and catch up to Cameron Bedford's. The gap now is at 2.2 seconds, so heading down the main straight, just start to think about what you want to do for turn 1, how you want to approach it. He's using a bit more of the outfield than I would have initially thought. Now into the braking zone just after the 100 metre board, so that's not too bad. Of course, if you're using ABS, that's probably going to help you a little bit more than what we're going to have to face with ABS being off. Turn 3, yeah, he's taking a pretty good line, goes out wide and then shuts back inward, and then probably the trickiest corner in my books on the track, which is quite strange to me saying that, but Cameron's got a slowdown penalty. This is going to give Tyler so much incentive here. Oh, he probably should have gone for a move up the inside there, but I suppose he was probably expecting Cameron to go defensive there and didn't really want to try and cause an accident there, but he might. Oh, this is not. Want to be careful here, fellas. You don't want to be doing any overtaking here, but this has certainly put the battle back into context. Harry's still 8 seconds behind the other two, so he hasn't spun again as far as I can see. But Tyler!
Oh, Tyler.
And that's in the fence. Just a little too optimistic on the acceleration. Is he going to come in and deal with that? Or no, I think he's going to be alright, so...
Just drops him all the way back to Harry now, so Harry can have a little crack at Tyler. Or Tyler can decide to say, nah, drive away.
I was just saying, Tyler's done pretty good. He's adapted to the cars pretty well compared to a lot of the people who race this game a bit more than others. I mean, Jordan plays this game quite a fair bit as he...
Every time I go on board with him, he's dropping it out the final corner.
Yeah, so...
I should probably stop going on board with him.
Well, I'd be interested. So actually, go into the roof cam. We'll do a lap on Paul with Jordan and see how he approaches this lap. So heading into turn 1, very, very slow, but very late on the brake compared to everyone else. Takes a little bit longer than everyone else to get on the acceleration. Just listening. A lot of off and on throttle application. Of course, this is probably part of the controller versus wheel scheme, I think. The top 3 are all on the wheel. Jordan is on the pad, I believe. And you can definitely see it in the movement of the car, the jittering, the wobbling. Just listening. Some of it he's getting onto the acceleration quite nicely, probably even better than some of the guys up the front, but then...
Seems like he's gassing it up too much out of that corner, and it's just compromising it for the next one.
And it definitely does give you the impression about the differences of what kind of game this is versus F1. With F1, it's kind of a combination between a wheel and a pad game. Gran Turismo kind of is the same, but it actually kind of almost caters to wheel users just a tiny bit more. But then Project Cars 2 is completely a wheel game. Just looking at the map now, watching quite a bit of a gap now forming between the top 4 again as we enter the 5th lap of 20. And Tyler slowing again, which means slowdown penalty as Harry sees. See, this is what Tyler needed to do the lap before. So, they're gonna ding dong a little bit here. This could be, let's see, Tyler, you don't want to be making a move here or even trying to. Yeah, and that's exactly why. So there's a bit of contact there. Front windshield on Tyler's car is looking a bit average, and Harry's been obviously given a slowdown penalty there, which has helped Tyler get back through. There was quite a bit of a battle here between Tyler and Oliver, and I keep thinking Connor for some reason, but good battle between him and Oliver in the Porsche race, which ended in...
Harry's trying to look back now. basically giving it to Tyler. Oh, and Harry got the slipstream, got a good run into turn 1. Good under braking. Nice racing room as Tyler shoves his nose back in there and basically steals the position back.
Sorry, headset disconnected there, and probably going to disconnect again. I'm just going to try and charge one of my controllers. So
Don't have that happen.
no, I didn't think. I thought the other controller was a bit more charged up than this one. So either which way. So as you say, yeah, Harry just seems to be having a bit of trouble trying to get on the acceleration, but he's doing all right at the moment now, trying to initiate a move on Tyler, and Tyler's just gradually getting better as the race progresses. So we'll just see how that plays out. And I think that was Tyler just pirouetting off. Yep, there he was off in the distance there. So that's given Harry a bit of a reprieve. So the gap's 19.1 seconds though. Cameron again having a stellar race, just definitely a lot cleaner car too, so not as much damage as previous. Somebody did comment that the car kind of looks like a BMW because you can't see the front spoiler, and I kind of agree. I can kind of see where they're coming from. From a distance it does look like a BMW at the front.
Understandable. Oh, it is a Falcon, so I don't exactly cares.
Yeah, exactly. Holding people, fellas, holding people. So, I mean, I suppose while we've got a free moment, let's talk about the Virgin Australia Supercar Championship. So, as people have known, Scott McLaughlin has pretty much dominated the entire series at this point. He's only been really beaten by 3 drivers over the course of the 16, 17 races we've done.
I believe so, yeah.
Holden have only managed...
Whincup coming out and breaking his dread at Queensland Raceway last weekend. Done.
Of course, you were there personally yourself, so you were there to witness that.
Yeah, worked him on. Definitely a great experience.
And then
every year.
Van Gisbergen giving the Holden fans a bit of a jump in the light of hoping to clean up the weekend. Not unfortunate not to be able to get past Scotty, who took another win. Got a $13,000 fine for...
When Scotty wins, I prefer him to go out and win the way that he won against Shane. Go out and actually race to deserve the win, not go out and take the lead from the first lap and walk away with it. Whilst that's not exciting for racing. It's basically the same in F1.
Yeah,
not a huge standard walk away wins.
Yeah, well, I mean, it depends on the driver, I guess. I mean, if it was Scott Pye, it'd be a different story. Same for me if it was Craig Lowndes.
Yes.
But
I'd say that.
But in saying that, so
story, Brett.
Yeah, so I mean, it's been good. I suppose it's been good for the Ford Spectrum that they've finally got a car that can actually clean up races, clean up weekends, and clean up poles.
Aesthetically appealing.
Yeah, it's not. I mean, we've seen the GT. If they could bring in a Holden or an Opel GT4 car into the category, we would change the supercar to have the Opel and the Ford Mustang, and the Mustang on the GT4 is actually a lot more aesthetically pleasing, even if it is still a Ford. But okay, speaking of, so we've now entered a new battle frame where Harry and Tyler are back in combat, and Jordan's up there too, but I think Jordan is a lap down again, so poor Jordan.
Well, he's already doing better than he was in race 1.
Yeah, so he's
got to keep going, stay consistent, building points.
And the car is definitely on a lot more pristine condition than most of the cars, apart from probably Cameron, who's had an untouched car. Harry's car's just grubby, and then Tyler's cars definitely look like it's had better days. And of course this is just the Super2, so these are the guys that are just looking to impress, maybe try and find their way into a full-time seat later on the season, next season, if there is a next season. I mean, we've gone into a lot of debate about the future of the Transnation eSports Supercar Series. to not so much to the point of canning it completely, but to the point of maybe reducing the number of categories down to maybe just supercars and Super 2. So to kind of make way for a few extra Formula 1 little vehicles. I mean, it was a bit of a gamble personally to try and bridge out into a second game, and we did it with GT Sport, and suffice to say the GT Sport one went alright. We didn't get any coverage of the actual supercar racing. Always Harry does a loop-de-loop, and that's
Still struggling at the rear of his car.
it just seems like every time
Seem-
the battle for second doesn't seem to stabilise, because one way or another is he's now actually going to come in,
Oh,
and
where'd Tyler
Tyler,
go?
I think Tyler went in the fence. That was interesting, but that's going to put Jordan in. If Jordan can hold his ground, that's going to put Jordan on the podium and on round honours.
How about that?
And I think on round honours that will actually, yeah, it looks like according to what Tyler's just said, he's cursing himself, so he must have had a speed in pits automatically disqualified.
All that is painful.
Ouch.
I don't know if you should get disqualified for speeding in the pit lane.
Well,
but,
it depends on the speed, I would
stewards are a
say.
bit painful. It
Yeah.
does depend on the speed.
Yeah, so I'd say, I think it's like if you go 50 kilometers, well, you know, if you go 10 kilometers over the speed limit, it's probably like a 5-second time penalty. 10 kilometers probably goes up more, and then he probably went in 10 or 20 he probably went in 20 or 30 kilometers over the speed limit, and
Just a bit too fast, probably.
yeah. We'll just double check. That was a quick stop there by Cameron. Just waiting.
No tire change. Oh,
Might have been just a fuel. No, I wouldn't say it was a fuel up. Maybe he was just trying to let the competition catch up a little bit extra, or
no. Would have bet against it.
well, I thought he was doing that in the supercar, but it turned out that he was actually slowing down for penalties. So, lap, where are we? So much suddenly. Lap 10 of 20. So, we've just covered the halfway race distance. We've only got 3 cars left on the field. So, looking at the round honours at the moment, Cameron Betts is going to take a perfect weekend for his squad, and Harry will take position 2. And then it will be a tie for position 3 between Tyler Beasley and Jordan Dittmer. But because Jordan will have finished ahead of Tyler in the third race, well, in the second race, he will take third place in the round. So that will be a career best fit. In fact, this will be well, actually, in saying that, this will be a career best finish for Jordan in the Super 2, since this is, of course, the inaugural round, so the very first ever Super 2 race.
Jordan's first race in Super 2, yeah, because he was racing in Supercars last season.
And it'll also be his best result of the Supercar as a league general. This will be a career best finish for him of P3, so he's never been on the podium. I think the best finish he had was...
Brett, I still haven't won a race in Supercars.
Yes, you haven't actually, so...
That's a stat for you. I've come second, third plenty of times, but I haven't won a race.
Well, I've only won the reverse races, so that's not much to gawk about. I think Josh and Mackenzie share the most wins in a season.
And you got Alex, who's also up there in terms of race wins.
Yeah, now Alex has probably been the only one out of the lot of us probably giving this a go. Not so sure about the supercar part, but maybe... I think he was definitely talking about doing a lot of laps in the Toyota 86, so he got a race win out of that one.
This game will definitely help.
Oh, for sure.
Because we're playing a completely different game. It won't exactly help in terms of conversion over to here, but I've always liked jumping on the project cars and driving the car, jumping in and giving it a red hot go. Just these supercars are absolutely beautiful cars to drive without assist. You're always on the ragged edge with them.
And one thing I've come to
rewarding.
notice too, actually, Sebastian, when I've looked at it, the similarities between this game and F1 2019 aren't too different. Like the braking, the acceleration, the traction is all very similar in the way that you can't dump your foot immediately on the gas and expect it to give you much give. And the braking, you can't brake too hard without the car, as Jordan now pirouettes, speaking of braking.
Every time I go to Jordan.
But yeah, so the only thing that's different is the steering module. So the steering module between 2019 and Project Cars 2 is vastly different. But I find the acceleration and the braking to be quite similar, and that's probably a good thing. So because you're not jumping from one game to another and experiencing too many major like differences in your driving ability, you don't actually have to readapt yourself too much. So lap 13 of 20, 7 laps left to go, and there's a 39. So we're pretty much back to where we were this time in race 1, with Cam having a nearly 40-second gap over the rest of the field. But that's only as a cause of a few pit lane shuffles. Although Cam did pit as well, but his stop wasn't exactly...
It was very quick. I don't know if he got anything done with it. I think he just came in, drove out.
Maybe did a drive.
Not too sure what it was about.
Maybe an undeserved drive-through again.
Definitely. After the race or something.
The game definitely does seem to not want to give out a lot of information about whether drivers have penalties or whatnot, or whether they've been given drive-throughs or things like that. So it's very hard to distinguish what's going on at this present point.
The good thing about F1 and how it shows in the bottom corner of the screen that whether someone's got a 3-second time penalty or a drive through. It's got a lot fastest lap even.
Well, the thing about it too, though, is that you personally have a race feed in your bottom right-hand corner, but it doesn't. It only seems to correlate to things shown in qualifying, nothing else. So something that definitely could.
Lap time validated, basically. So the Cameron Betts doing it. Good old Cameron.
There's not much.
Exploring the limits of the circuit, done well.
Well, I mean, it's a very vast circuit. I mean, I've been watching it since 7 o'clock, well, 8 o'clock this morning with the Toyota 86 and the Porsches. It's a very characteristic circuit. It doesn't really give you a lot of time to... the main straight is really the only time you get to think about what you're doing, and then the rest of the lap is pretty much putting pen to paper, or whatever, however you say it. And those who get the lap right are treated like heroes. Those who don't quite get it right... Oh, that's big! That's Cameron Betts in the fence! Where is that?
Final corner, I believe.
That's
Not
huge.
Moving. He's either got issues with his car and can't seem to get it moving. I wonder what's actually happened.
That's a huge moment there for our race leader. And still no indication as to why his car is not moving. Has he suffered a terminal... Is this a terminal race failure, or is he just trying to... Not really sure. If he was trying to let people through, he's probably should have been on the gas by now. And that's now Harry Lillis taking the race lead, and this is going to change the round honours as well.
Sure.
So Jordan up
If
to...
this stays like this, if he goes around one more lap and find himself overtaking
and getting the best finish of second place. But let's just go back and see if... No, he's still not moving, so there must be... I'll just have a look and see if there's anything going on in the Discord and just see...
his wheel broke. His wheel is just broke, apparently, according to what he's saying in Discord.
Yeah.
That is very bad signs.
And it's not... I don't think this is the kind of game where you're actually able to jump from controller wheel to controller.
You cannot jump to controller from the wheel.
And vice versa. So he would have to stop the game, get out his controller and go back. So I think...
That's basically his race is over.
It just turned off mid-corner and won't turn back on. Jesus, That's heartbreaking there for Cameron Betts. But now this is a big moment in history as Jordan Dittmer now round to the penultimate bend. We're not going to see it.
And he's coming in the pits.
We're not going to see it officially because, of course, both drivers have TNF1 in their name. So, but in just a minute now, there we go. There you have it. Jordan Dittmer now second place. He will be absolutely enthralled with this result at the moment. He would not have been expecting it. So it changes the round on us a little bit too. So not really sure what this stop is for. But for Harry Lillis, this will equal them up on the round honours. But of course, because Harry wins this, if Harry wins this race, I mean, let's face it, if Harry doesn't win this race, we're going to see history in the making here. But Harry wins the race, they equal on points, but Harry will win the round because, of course, he has won the second race. As per usual, as per the 500 rule, the winner of the Sunday, or as we call it, this in this case.
On equal points though, because if Cam can't seem to get that car to move, he'll be.
And then there we go. So, no, actually, yeah, no. Harry will take the lead of the race, of the championship too, and he already sees it. He's already kind of halfway celebrating. I wouldn't be going too centric on the celebrations. Oh my God, Jordan! I thought you were waiting up for him. Jordan could sniff the opportunity of a race win coming his way, but now that he's actually fallen 2 laps behind, he'll just want to have to try and consolidate and take this result. But even the day to see Jordan Dittmer P2 in a race, it's kind of bringing the tears in my eye, I'm not going to lie.
It's a bit emotional.
Of course, we're still waiting for him to
coming out.
Still waiting for him to get that elusive race win. I think openly, looking at the F3 roster, I think he's got as big a chance as anyone to win a race.
I reckon Jordan, 1 lap pace, I reckon he could actually I reckon Jordan just needs to focus on getting his race consistency up there. If he gets that consistency going, he'll find a long way in terms of competing for the F3 throttle.
And of course we know Jordan really well. We've known him for 2 years almost. Actually, it would be 2 years, coming on 2 years very soon. He does have he does have a condition. We don't know exactly what the condition is, but it doesn't stop him. It doesn't. We give him shit. He gives it back. We openly appreciate that.
We love him the same way that he loves us. So
exactly. So, he does. He goes out there. He does a good job on the best of days. I mean, his best result in TNF1 in the Formula 1 category is a P3. He's had several podiums in the first season back on the F1 2017 game. So he's been on the podium once or twice in the past, and it's just been the unfortunate side that he's been kind of thrown into categories where the drivers in it probably a little bit beyond the point where they shouldn't even be in F2, probably F1, but no space in the second season. And then season 3 had every opportunity in the book, but a few mistakes here and there kind of compromised them, especially an unmentionable one at Silverstone, but I won't go into that one. And then, yeah, looking at season 4, I'll add to you, season 4, those videos that you've seen in the TransNation Formula 1 channel that say season 5, that is wrong. Okay, that is very wrong. Mackenzie, I don't know what the hell you were thinking when you made those videos, but they're wrong.
The lineups, everything, all the details are right, except for the
season number.
The season number. We're not up this season.
No, I mean, don't get me wrong. I wouldn't mind being into season 5 already. I just would like to know what exactly happened in season 4. But must have been too grueling to express. But anyway, we're on lap 19 now off Harry. You don't want, the last thing you want to do is throw your car in the fence and put it all.
Destroy a race, and then there'll be history to make.
I mean,
then they'll make the race go on even longer.
Yeah. It would, 2 laps extra. So yeah, he's coming along. So he's done a good. Qualifying wasn't exactly the strongest point in race 2. For race 2, a lot of spinning, a lot of rear ending. Pretty much no different at the start of the race with battling with Tyler, and then of course that very tragic accident there with Cameron Benton, his wheel disconnecting. Hopefully that's not a terminal issue, because I know how much wheels cost these days, and buying a replacement wheel is not exactly the best thing in an itinerary, so we'll hope to see the wheel fixed and him back in the track for the Autodrome de Algarve. So final lap now for Harry Lillis, the I'm going to say 15-year-old Australian from South Australia. Oh, he's getting a little eccentric there, takes out one of the cones.
Still got a lap to go there, Harry.
Don't want to be celebrating too early. You'll have a moment to do a celebratory burnout at the end of the race, so I wouldn't go too hard, too fast just yet. But good drive from him so far. He's kept his cool, he's kept his head. Definitely is in the situation with him and Tyler, both having a good ding-dong battle there, and Tyler.
Imagine how this race would go if Tyler was still in it.
Oh, exactly. This race could have gone either which way. We've had probably 3 candidates capable of winning today. 2 of them have been...
What if?
Yeah, big what if. So, unfortunately for Tyler, disqualifying the pits. Unfortunate for Cam, a mechanical issue. But for Harry Lillis, it's going to be the big one. It's not only going to be a race win for Harry, it's going to be the round win. And, of course, he'll take the championship lead with this. So Harry Lillis takes out race 2 here at the Dubai National Super 2, and he'll now try and gas him up and try and bring it home. Now Jordan in the last race gassed it up too much and didn't cross the line. Can he do it this time? Yes, he can. So Jordan crosses the line and gets P2, and that probably could almost put Jordan second in the round actually as well. So what a great way to end this race.
Just saying, Brett, fastest lap of the race, faster than the qualifying lap.
Yeah, that's true. A 22.6 by Harry, so he's done well. So strangely, the podium seems a bit whacked out in the way that it's saying Harry's on first and second and Cameron third, but we know who that actually is. And Jordan, we'll have a look at the championship picture now. Jordan is P2, so Jordan takes second in the round. 13 points behind Harry, who takes the lead of the championship. Tyler, unfortunate not to finish, and Cameron not finishing, so neither score points there themselves, but a win apiece for Cameron and for Harry. So that's all the time we have for Super 2. Sebastian, thanks for joining me in the commentary box, and we'll see you again at Autodrome de Algarve in Portugal. That's our next venue for the Super 2 Championship. Stay tuned for about 45 minutes time when qualifying starts for the supercars. We'll hopefully try and get a broadcast for it. I don't know how, but we'll find a way. At least for race 2 we'll have one. So thanks for watching, and watch the space.